Alright, so I kind of feel like I've been rushing through the explanations of some of these maneuvers and tactics a little bit, so I'm going to try to slow it down a little bit in this episode. But anyway, hello and welcome to the third and last installment of this series, the squad-based tactics and maneuvers. And this is mainly going to be just in pairs of two, so I don't really have any tactics with 4-man squads. So 2-man squads is basically what this video is going to be about. Besides, you can always split up a 4-man squad into squads of 2, which is usually what my squad does if we actually use any tactics. But anywho, yeah, the first tactic, as you can see, is the Dragon Bag. And basically the main point I want to try to get across to you with this tactic is proper angling relative to your wingman. And you can see this is a bad angle relative to your wingman because your wingman will only have one opportunity to fire at the bandit. And by the time that firing opportunity is ended, if he hasn't killed the bandit, he has to turn all the way around, and you're all the way over there outrunning him. And here's another diagram of a good angle. You can see the one being chased is dragging the bandit right perpendicular, basically, to his wingman, so that the wingman can just swing in right on his 6 and take him out. And another point to be made, you do not have to be on comms to do this. You can do this with completely random teammates. You just have to know what a proper angle is relative to that teammate and just drag him and give him as best of an angle as you can. Alright, here's an example of the Dragon Bag being used in combat. You can see Bohica is to my 12 o'clock, he's the bandit. Chris is to my 12 o'clock as well, he's my wingman. I inform my wingman that I'm going to be dragging the bandit perpendicular to the east. He prepares to swing in on his 6. And I dive away to get separation from the bandit enough so that I can not die. And that's basically the point of a Dragon Bag, is to make the bandit as easy as possible for your wingman to kill, but you still have to remain evasive enough so that you don't die. And eventually my wingman gets enough firing opportunity on the bandit to kill him, and that is the Dragon Bag. I couldn't find any diagrams of a defensive split, so I just made my own. And the basic gist of the maneuver is your wingman is lined up with you, both of you break in opposite directions, the bandit has to pick one, and from there it just turns into a Dragon Bag. Alright, you can see here I'm lined up with Bohica. Chris is about to dive on one of us, and I break left, he breaks right. Chris chooses me. And you can see I'm starting to bring myself around in order to give my wingman a good angle. This just goes back to the Dragon Bag. I do a couple of barrel rolls to both remain evasive and slow down a little bit so my wingman can catch up. And from there, it's just a matter of finishing off the bandit. Alright, the next tactic I'm going to show you is the Thatch Weave, and you may have heard of this maneuver from the Pacific War. This is the tactic that the Wildcats adopted in order to combat the more maneuverable Mitsubishi Zero. And right here I'm just demonstrating it in a couple Hellcats. But the idea is the same. It's just basically, it's a flat scissors. It's a nose-to-nose reversal with your teammate, trying to get the bandit to commit to 1, and if he commits to 1 is going to always have a shot on the bandit. However, I still prefer the defensive split much more because I think there's just a better opportunity for the wingman to actually get the kill and not die in a defensive split, and it's much less chaotic. It's just a personal opinion though. Alright, the next tactic is the loose deuce, and trust me, it's not quite as complicated as this diagram would make it out to be. And the main point you want to take away from the loose deuce is just to keep the defender always maneuvering in order to give your wingman a better shot. That's the whole point of this, is just to keep pressure on the enemy. Keep constant pressure on him, keep him constantly maneuvering, constantly devoid of energy, so that hopefully your wingman will get a better shot than you. And you can see I did not follow at all there, I just got him to turn in, so that my wingman would have a better shot on him, and I retain as much energy as possible. So right there I was free, but about halfway through my wingman's pass, I'm going to be back to engaged. And I'm maneuvering a little bit, but that's just to get the enemy to maneuver. I'm not going to actually follow his break. I'm back to free. My wingman should be back to engaged by now. And eventually he gets the bandit to turn as well, back towards me. And once he does turn, I am back to engaged. My wingman is back to free. He's circling back. And once I'm about halfway through my pass, my wingman should actually be back to engaged. This is a maneuver for pretty patient people, but it also requires a good sense of timing and urgency, because you don't want the bandit to be able to regain all that energy that he just lost by turning. You want to keep this at a brisk pace. You want the defender to be constantly maneuvering, constantly losing energy, and you want to be constantly saving your energy. So ideally you should be starting your pass about halfway through your wingman's pass. That doesn't always happen, but just try to get it as close as possible. And Bohica swung in under me, so I couldn't follow that. I zoomed back up, and at this point I'm already circling back around, so I can switch back to engaged. My wingman's back to free. And you can see at this point Bohica's pretty low on energy. He maneuvers back under me, but at this point he's really slow. I recognize that, and I've got an easy chance to swing in on his 6. He's already critically damaged, so I just take the shot and finish him off. Alright, and the final tactic is the flying wing. This is just the traditional wingman formation. The wing leader is the one starting all the attacks. The wingman's job is just simply to cover the wing leader, and you can do a variety of positions, but here I'm just situated right on his 6 o'clock. You can do a high-low formation or whatever you want, but the job of the wingman remains the same, to protect the wing leader. And you can see I'm just constantly checking my 6, just staying on my wing leader's 6, staying as close to him as possible. I'm not going to be starting any other attacks independently. I'm always with my wingman, my wing leader. Alright, he's circling back around. I check my 6 again. That's something you want to get used to. And you can see a lot of my focus is just on sticking with my wingman, and that's one of the downsides to this tactic. Is a lot of your focus is not on the enemy, but on sticking close to your wingman. One of the upsides is this is a good way to teach someone, as in it's a good way for someone to learn all these combat maneuvers that the wing leader is doing, and also it's a good form of mutual support. Usually you can see my wing leader gets damaged there, so as the wingman, my job is to circle back around and take this guy out before he gets back on my wing leader's 6. And do a loop, and I swing in on the Tempest 6, I critical damage him, and my wingman finishes him off. And that was a bit of a 20mm sandwich there. But anyways, that concludes this series. I hope you guys enjoyed as always, and I'll see you in my next video.